Here's one for you. Where did Lenny Kravitz sleep when he was broke and unknown in Los Angeles? And can you guess which radical lifestyle choice he's stuck to for nearly a decade? Think you know it? Take a shot in the comments below. I'll tell you soon. But first, welcome to the Versed Music Legends. I'm Dick Carlson. Stay tuned to uncover how Lenny fused his spiritual rituals with his music comeback and the stunning story behind his design empire. But to truly understand Lenny Kravitz, we need to rewind to where it all began, because his early years hold pivotal moments you won't believe. Lenny Kravitz was born in 1964, right in the heart of Manhattan, but the story of who he'd become started with the unlikely fusion of two very different worlds. His mother, Roxy Roker, was a Bahamian-American actress, and his father, Cy Kravitz, was a Jewish TV producer who had served in the military. Their unconventional union would shape Lenny's entire outlook. From day one, he was stuck in the clash of cultures. One day, he was attending synagogue with his dad's side. The next, he was immersed in the deep soul and rhythm of his mom's heritage. Summers in the Bahamas, school years in New York, and later, a move to Los Angeles when Roxy landed her breakout role in the series The Jeffersons. Music was his native language. He banged on pots and pans before he could form full sentences. His cradle was surrounded by jazz records, gospel, and classical music. But it wasn't until he saw the Jackson 5 at Madison Square Garden that the lightning bolt hit. He was just a kid, but the moment he watched Michael move, sing, and command a stage, he knew that was it. That's the life he wanted. Then, his high school in Beverly Hills wasn't easy. Lenny didn't fit neatly into any box. Be it racially, socially, or musically, he was never part of the crowd. But that outsider energy sharpened him for the growth that was coming his way. He soaked in every sound he could find. He listened to Led Zeppelin, Prince, Curtis Mayfield, the Beatles, Bob Marley, and Duke Ellington. And deep down, he started shaping something of his own. Still, the industry didn't get him. After graduating, he left home with nothing but ambition and a beat-up car. For a while, he reportedly slept in it. LA wasn't cheap and labels weren't exactly knocking. He played in small clubs, picked up side gigs, hustled where he could, but he refused to compromise on his sound. Every A&R guy wanted him to pick a lane, be more rock or more pop or more something. But Lenny knew what he wanted and, more importantly, what he didn't. So he stuck to his way. People called him weird, said the retro thing wouldn't sell. That rock was white and soul was black, and you couldn't blend them both. But Lenny wasn't trying to follow trends. He was chasing a feeling. Eventually, New York called him back. The grit, the history, the music scene, it made him feel closer to home. And that's where everything shifted. One night, he crossed paths with Lisa Bonet. Their connection was instant. Lisa believed in Lenny's potential when no one else did. She pushed him to lean harder into his vision, to stay strange, to get louder with it. She even helped fund his early demos. Still, the industry slammed door after door. But Lenny doubled down. He wrote, produced, and played nearly every instrument on what would become his debut album. He poured his entire soul into it, refusing to sound like anyone else. Amid chaos, Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet quietly married in 1987. A year later, in 1988, they welcomed their daughter, Zoe Kravitz, who is a blend of fire, soul, and artistry, just like her parents. In 1989, at age 25, Lenny released his debut album, Let Love Rule. He wrote it, produced it, and played nearly every instrument. The critics were divided, but the people responded. The album went gold in the U.S., selling over 500,000 copies, and launched his music career. In 1990, the momentum built. He began touring globally and earning underground respect for his retro soul meets rock aesthetic. Then in 1991, he dropped Mama Said. The album was a breakthrough, going platinum in the U.S. with over 1 million copies sold. The hit single, It Ain't Over Till It's Over, reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming one of his biggest commercial hits. That same year, he co-wrote Madonna's Justify My Love, a bold, sultry single that sold over 1 million copies in the U.S. alone and stirred controversy with its provocative music video. But while his career soared, his personal life was fracturing. The pressures of fame, constant travel, and growing apart took a toll on his marriage. And in 1993, Lenny and Lisa divorced. The separation left Lenny devastated, as Lisa had been his muse, partner, and anchor. But that heartbreak became fuel for what came next. From that place, he'd rise even higher. His album, Are You Gonna Go My Way, and Lenny Kravitz exploded into the stratosphere. The title track was a rocket, with guitars screaming, hair flying, drums pounding like a sermon. It became one of the defining anthems of the 90s, and it officially made Lenny a global rock star. In 1995, Lenny released Circus, which was a bold album laced with commentary about fame, religion, and the industry machine. Critics were divided, but the message was clear that Lenny wasn't chasing hits. He was chasing the truth. He followed it up with Five in 1998. This was Lenny at full power. This sleek, sharp, and studio-savvy album blended rock with funk and soul. Hits like Fly Away and American Woman took over the airwaves. The album sold over 6 million copies worldwide, and the awards followed. He won the Grammy for Best Male Rock Vocal Performance in 1999, then again in 2000, then again in 2001, and again in 2002, 4 years in a row. No male rock artist had ever done that before. On stage, Lenny was a machine. He's rehearsal tight and would always stay in absolute control. If someone missed a note in sound check, he'd catch it. Touring with Lenny meant discipline because he demanded excellence, not just from his crew, but from himself. The wealth came fast for him, the houses, the cars, the fame. But Lenny stayed rooted in craftsmanship. He became obsessed with architecture and design, building homes around the world, and each one of them is a reflection of his soul. He adorned them with clean lines, vintage pieces, and bold colors. He was living the dream. But behind the sunglasses, there was always pressure, isolation, and the quiet toll of perfectionism. But Lenny Kravitz never slowed down. He chose to expand creatively, spiritually, and professionally. But music wasn't the only canvas he was painting on. In 2003, he quietly launched Kravitz Design. What started as a passion project became a legit firm, working on $5 million plus hotel projects and high-end furniture lines. His collabs with Rolex and Leica brought his minimalist plus vintage style to elite accessories and interiors around the globe. Around this time, Lenny turned a cramped Miami bathroom into a recording studio. That raw DIY setup would birth new big songs. In 2004, he dropped Baptism. It was an album that pulsed with raw energy and personal searching. The sound was stripped down, and the lyrics were exposing. It reflected his personal journey and sold around 700,000 copies worldwide. Tracks like Where Are We Runnin' were full of questions about fame, purpose, and the chase for meaning. And then came Hollywood. He took a turn most didn't see coming. He stepped into acting, and it wasn't a vanity move. His performance in Precious, 2009, is as a gentle grounding nurse named John. It caught critics by surprise. He brought warmth and stillness to the screen with his presence, which was unexpected. Then, in The Hunger Games, he played Cinna, Katniss Everdeen's quiet stylist and confidant. Again, his stillness spoke volumes as he depicted a calm and wise character. From the studio to the screen to skyscrapers and sketches, Lenny's creativity had no borders. And yet, even with all that success, he remained grounded. Then, in 2011 came Black and White America, a soulful genre-blending response to growing political and racial tension in the U.S. It was personal and fearless, and it reminded people that Lenny was more than just a rock star. He was a black artist with something to say. By 2014, Lenny Kravitz had become a genre-defying icon with over 38 million albums sold, a multi-Grammy winner, and a rising force in global design. His 2014 album Strut was bold, stylish, and unapologetic, peaking in the top 20 on the Billboard 200 and showing he still had the rock to move crowds. By his 60s, Lenny Kravitz has conquered music, movies, and design, but you'd never peg him for a typical celebrity. With an estimated $90 million net worth, much of it from music, but increasingly from architecture, licensing, and furniture design. Lenny's house collection includes a solar-powered trailer deep in the Bahamas. He also owns a sleek Paris mansion where vintage meets minimalism. It featured in Architectural Digest and helped land him on the AD 100 list of top creative firms. In Brazil, he owns an eco-retreat hidden in the hills. Then there's his car collection, which includes a vintage Mercedes convertible, a custom electric Cadillac, and even a private jet for spontaneous getaways. His mornings begin barefoot, usually before sunrise. He brews coconut oil-infused smoothies to fuel workouts that might even happen at 2 a.m. Around midday, he's often outdoors, riding horses along the shorelines of his island property. His afternoons are for design. In his Paris studio, he sketches furniture, tests textures, and works hands-on with materials, sometimes even bending metal himself. It's pure craftsmanship spirit. And his evenings are slow and intentional. If he's not hosting friends over a home-cooked organic meal, he sits alone with a notebook, candles lit, and Beethoven or Miles Davis playing in the background. It's reflective and creative. And his love life has been silent for a decade now. For nearly 10 years, Lenny chose solitude and spiritual discipline over relationships to stay creatively sharp and personally centered. This lifestyle choice is part of his daily toolkit, like meditation, cold plunges, workout discipline, and silence that fuels his creativity. Lenny learned to channel fame's noise into focused intention. In 2024, he released this solar-charged album recorded entirely in his Bahamas studio. No big label crews, just him, his guitar, and the ocean breeze. Tracks like TK421 hit the charts, reminding us that Lenny, even in his 60s, still knows how to move us. While grounded in tropical life, his creative fingers stretch globally. Kravitz's design has evolved into a global force. His furniture blends bold colors, vintage textures, and clean lines. Every chair, table, and lamp reflects his soul. And he's still touring, gracing stages in Vegas and Europe. He's still writing and jamming with young artists in his studio. He's branding and expanding his sustainable furniture line and helping emerging designers under his label, Roxy Records. Today, Lenny Kravitz lives like a man who built his dream and then rebuilt it on his own terms. Between sun-soaked Bahamas mornings and late-night Parisian design sessions, he's got a life few would imagine, but it's unmistakably his. He's still out there somehow, looking like he hasn't aged a day. He's proof that staying true to your rhythm, no matter how wild the ride, can lead to something lasting. So, which unexpected side of Lenny surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know what caught you off guard. And don't miss what's next. I've got more music legends coming your way soon.